मधुर मनोहर अतीव सुंदर ये सर्व विद्या की राजधानी राजधानी।
Well, this is 8th lecture in the series of mechanics of metal forming. We would cover representation of a tensor. Usually whatever chapters now we are going to discuss, particularly we are going towards the analytical part of metal forming. So it is very necessary to discuss the tensor, because everywhere the equations, metal forming equations, plasticity equations, whatever it comes, that is represented in the form of tensor, because the tensor form reduces the size of the equations and it is a very compact representation. So in this particular lecture we would discuss the representation of tensor, particularly for mechanics part of when we represent the stresses, strain and the related equations. So the tensor and related issues, and we would be solving some of the problem to understand how the tensor representations could be solved and it means in different equations of the form. So let us see, we usually come across the modeling of metal forming processes, basically the physical quantities in the form of scalars, vectors and tensors, very often we come across. So what is tensor? Let us see what is tensor. So in fact a tensor, it means the order of 2 unless it is stated. If it is nothing said, that means the tensor order is 2. Otherwise a 3-dimensional space, if you take a 3-dimensional space, so a vector has 3 component and therefore a tensor has 9 component if we look into. So as far as the indexing notation has to be followed for representing especially 3-dimensional tensor, which is of use for metal forming, the components corresponding to the index as well as whatever expressions are being formed involving scalars, vectors and tensors, we would let us see. Let us see this index notation. It works on especially your coordinate axis x, y, z, and let this coordinate axis be represented as 1, 2, 3. Therefore, for an example, if we represent 1, 2, 3 in the form of a particular velocity vector vx, vy, vz, so we can simply write as the vi. So in the tensorial representation we can write vx, vy, vz as vi, right. So the vi means 3 directions, I represents 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So vi means it is a tensor, so having 3 components v1, v2 and v3. So 1, 2, 3 represents 3-dimensional space, and therefore if we take in 2-dimensional space, it can take value I as 1 and 2 only. Similarly, the notation, suppose there is a stress Ij, if we write stress Ij as notation with the indices as I and j, so how many components can be, because now the I and j, I ranges from 1 to 3 and j also ranges from 1 to 3. Therefore, how many? 3 multiplied by 3, that is now 9 component of the stress is possible, and therefore the stress tensor will have, that is sigma ij, it will represent 9 component like sigma 1 2, sigma 2 3, sigma 3 1, then sigma 1 1, sigma 2 2, sigma 3 3, and sigma 1 3, then sigma 3 2, then sigma 2 1. So, these becomes almost 9 components. In fact, if we see this notation, it was it came from the Einstein summation convention. Einstein used some summation convention, and therefore the similar convention is implied for writing the sum of various terms in a very condensed or short form. And it has been found that this convention, if indexing is used, so it can occur twice in a term. Then the term represents the sum of all the terms involving all possible values of the index. For an example, if we take say a situation where ai bi, that is that means I, if it is ranges from 1 to 3. So, if I write a convention as ai bi, that means it mean a1 b1 plus a2 b2 plus a3 b3 in 3-dimensional space. And likewise, for an example, and so therefore one can see here that whatever convention we are going to use, for an example, let us take the term aij. If we take another convention as aij bj, so we have there is a index, there is a dummy index, and there is a free index. There, if you see, if there is a dummy index and there is a free index. So, if you see, the dummy index is repeated, whereas the non-repeated index, which is called as free index. Thus, if you write as aij bj, so a is free index, sorry, the I is free index and j would be taken as dummy index. So, any symbol can be used for any index, dummy index, and therefore the index, the expression that it is there, this particular expression, if we take here, that is aij bj, it can also be written as like aij bk. So, k is another index which can be changed. When there is two dummy indices, like that mean will cover the sum over both, that is a 3-dimensional, it will become 3-dimensional. It will contain in therefore how many terms? For an example, if we take a term like aij bij, if we take this term as aij bij, that means how many because I varies from 1 to 3 and j varies from 1 to 3. Therefore, if you take the component and then summation, so there are 9 components are added. So what would be your if you expand aij bij, that will it will be expanded as a11 b11 plus a12 b12 plus a13 b13 plus a21 b21 plus a22 b22 plus a23 a b23 plus a31 b31 plus a32 b32 plus a33 and b33. So this is the summation of 9 components, and it is simply represented in a very simple form aij bij. So the index that which is repeated more than twice, it is an invalid expression if it is repeated more than twice. So an expression or equation containing no free index represents a scalar expression or scalar quantities. Therefore, similarly, an expression or equations containing one free index denote a vector representation or quantities, and an expression or quantities containing two free indices represents a tensor. Therefore, expression either in the form of expression or equations. So say let us take an example here, like the term sigma ii. Let us take the term sigma ii, which will, because it is now repeated. So sigma ii, it is repeated as a scalar. Therefore, the term aij bj, if it is written like aij bj, which is containing free radical as free indices as I, which represents vector, while the term if we say as say r ij and sjk, say it is rij and sjk. So this contains the free indices as I and k represents a tensor. Similarly, equation if we write equation ai bi is equal to c, if we write this particular equation ai bi is equal to c, this represents a scalar equation, okay, and let us see these equations. So if this equation, that is the stress ij, that is the and nj is equal to ti. So the free radical is I and dummy radical is j, okay. So the free index is I and dummy index is j. Now if you see here, if we see here as a p ij, which is equal to q ij and r kj, if this is the equation, that is p ij is equal to q ij r kj. So the free indices is I and j, free is I and j and dummy is k. So these two equations, this particular equation denote a vector and tensor equations respectively. So in an equation where all the terms should have the same number for free indices, further the notations that we follow for free indices should have the same in all the terms, otherwise it will be it will not represent a correct form. Thus, if we take this particular equation where if let us take as I capital I is equal to Aj. So, look at this one, I capital I is equal to Aj. So, there is no free index here on the left side, right. And let us see this one, if Pij is Q Pij is equal to QKL, if it is this equation. So, you have two free indices have different notations on the two sides, here it is Ij, here KL. So, these are all invalid expressions, right, because it will not represent. So, with this particular fundamental where you can represent the summation in this form of notations, let us take some example. Let us take problem number 1, where you have the first problem where the expression is Ti is equal to sigma ij nj. So, let us expand this problem number 1. So, how would you start? This is what, a vector or tensor or scalar, because it is ij j and on the left side it is Ti. So, this represents a vector, it can't be a tensor. So, this represents a vector equation as there is only one free index which is I on each side of the equation, and whereas the dummy index which is j on the left side indicates that it is a sum of these terms. Expanding this sum, one can find it out like here, that if we expand it, so that is Ti would be sigma I1 N1 plus sigma I2 N2 plus sigma I3 N3. Is this okay? Now, since I is a free index and takes the value 1, 2 and 3 up to, it can take any value 1, 2, 3. So, this vector equation actually represents 3 set of scalar equations. Say first the I remains same. So, sigma I1 N1 plus sigma I2 N2 plus sigma I3 N3. Now, if I, because the free radical which is I, if both side it is I, so I can now change I from 1 to 3. So, that will 3 such equations. So, that means T1, first equation would be T1 is equal to sigma 1 N1 plus sigma 1 2 N2 plus sigma 1 3 N3. Similarly, the traction 2, that is T2, would be sigma 21 N1 plus sigma 22 N2 plus sigma 23 N3, and then T3 would be sigma 31 N1 plus sigma 32 N2 plus sigma 33 N3. So, this is how a very simple equation Ti is equal to sigma Ij Nj is very short form, but it represents 3 such equations. Let us take another problem and let us write the indices notation for the following expression. let us reverse the things. Here it is sigma n, it is given as sigma n is equal to sigma 1 1 n 1 is square plus sigma 3 3 n 3 is square plus in bracket sigma 1 2 plus sigma 2 1 and then n 1 n 2 plus in bracket sigma 2 3 plus sigma 3 2 n 2 n 3 plus in bracket sigma 3 1 plus sigma 1 3 bracket close n 1 n 3 and n 1. Let us write the index notation for this particular equation. So, we are be writing the reverse, the first problem we did initially. So, what we should now note it here, there are how many terms? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So, there are 9 terms here. Therefore, the indices notation must involve 2 dummy indices and one as free index. So, in order to write the above equation in terms of the dummy indices, we rearrange the right side of this particular equation like here. Let us open the bracket and rearrange. So, we can write down as sigma n is equal to sigma 1 1 n 1 n 2 plus sigma 1 2 n 1 n 2 plus sigma 1 3 n 1 n 3 plus sigma 2 1 sigma n 2 n 3 plus sigma 2 2 n 2 n 3 plus sigma 2 3 n 2 n 3 plus sigma 3 1 n 2 n 1 plus sigma 3 2 n 3 n 2 plus sigma 3 3 n 3 n 2. So, now you can note in this equation number 10 that each bracket there is a sum over the second index of sigma and the index of the second n. You see here in the first term 1 1 then 1 1 1 2 1 2. So, you can see the repetition. So, this sum can be expressed using a dummy index which is denoted by j, if we denote it by j, and then the same expression which is very long expression can be expressed as sigma n is equal to sigma 1 j sigma n1 nj plus sigma 2 j sigma n2 nj plus sigma 3 j n3 nj. Now, there is a sum over the first index of sigma and the index of the first n whatever it is. So, one can express this particular sum into another dummy index taking as I. So, the finally this equation can be written at in which form? Sigma n is equal to sigma ij ni nj. So, now you see such a long equation is represented into only 3-4 terms. So, that means it is ni sigma n is equal to sigma ij ni nj, and you can see here the symbols corresponding to the dummy indices can be which is other than the I and j. So, this is it represents a tensor there, it is a vector form, but it is a, usually two symbols are used to simplify the short expressions in the index notation form, and we use very often chronicle delta. We call it as a chronicle delta, which is which can be permutated. So, permutation symbol it can be used. So, the chronicle delta is defined as, here it is a delta ij is equal to 1. We write delta ij, which is a chronicle delta. So, delta ij is equal to 1 if I and j is equal to same. If it is I is equal to j, we take delta ij 1, and if it is 0, we take when the I and j are not equal, unequal. So, this permutation symbol we can define it by other form, like here. For an example, if we define this here like I j k, so this is for the I and j when it is, but when it is a 3-dimensional chronicle delta, if we define, so say strain I j k is equal to 0 if 2 or more indices are equal. If 2 or more indices are equal, we take it as 0. We take it as +1 if I j k are even permutations of 1, 2, 3. So, we would be taking this strain rather I j k is equal to +1 if I j k are even permutations of 1, 2, 3, and it will be taken as -1 if I j k are odd permutations of 1, 2, 3, right. So, the symbol chronicle delta and this strain the following identities. So, this identity basically where we can write it as A1 delta ij. If we write it like this, ai delta ij, so it can be, it will represent aj. For an example, this, and let us take this identity aj, capital Aij delta jk, which is equal to capital Ajk delta Ij delta jk, and it would be taken as delta jk. So, and then suppose this case is here, if you write strain Ijk, then strain PQR, if both are together. So, in this format, in the chronicle format, if you write, so what would be the chronicle that is IP, chronicle IP in bracket chronicle delta IQ chronicle delta KR minus chronicle delta ER chronicle delta K KJ plus in bracket chronicle JR chronicle KP minus chronicle IP and chronicle KR, and plus chronicle IR, then in bracket chronicle JP chronicle KQ minus chronicle JP chronicle KP, right. So, this chronicle symbol chronicle delta, when it is replaced, it will change according to the values, and as the indices comes into, for an example, if it is I and j only, so it is equal to 1 when I and j is equal, and it becomes 0 in case I and j are equal, non-equal. And similarly, when ijk, the permutations are defined in this format ijk, that is the strain, it becomes 0, it becomes +1 and it becomes -1 depending on the even and odd combinations. Let us take an example, the problem here, third problem, and let us expand these expressions. So, the expression is number 1, which is C is equal to A B J and chronicle delta Ij. So, the C is AI Bj chronicle delta Ij, and second expression is D is equal to strain Ijk and then Aj B. Let us expand it in the similar format which is the chronicle we have. So, if you look into, this is a scalar equation. First thing is, because both the side it is not equal, indices are not equal, it is a scalar quantities involving two dummy indices I and j, and thus it involves a sum of 9 terms. So, if we take the first case, if you expand the first sum, so the sum over I, we get the following terms on the left side of the equation. So, then it becomes C is equal to A1 Bj delta Ij plus A2 Bj delta 2j plus A3 Bj delta 3j. While expanding the sum over j, now this is the first expansion over I, and then once you expand over j, so each of the 3 terms we would follow the expression, earlier expression of the where the chronicle delta according to when equal and non-equal, and accordingly it will be substituted 0 or 1. So, if you substitute over the j, so this can be written as C is equal to A1 B1 plus A2 B2 plus A3 B3, because other terms become 0 because of where it is A and B, I and j are equal, the notation indices notation the values are equal, then it will become 0, and therefore it becomes so simple. Now, note this particular equation on the right side of the equation, that equation number 20, where the Aj Ai Bi, thus we get the what identity we would get, Ai Bj delta Ij, Ai Bj delta Ij. So, that becomes Ai Bi simply. So, this expression becomes a simple Ai Bi. So, this is what it simplifies. And let us take the second part, where the strain Ijk, the second expression, where it involves 3 dummy indices. So, if there are 3 dummy indices, means it is a sum of 27 terms, 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. So, 27 terms. However, the value of the permutation symbol in the form of strain is 0 when 2 of its indices are equal. Therefore, only 27 minus 6, 2 multiplied by 3 6, that means 21 terms would be 0, and therefore the expression with the second part of the expression will be with the remaining 6 non 0 term would be D is equal to strain 1 2 3 and capital I1 A2 B3 plus strain 1 3 2 I1 A3 B2 plus strain 2 231 I2 A3 B1 plus strain 213 plus I2 A1 B3 plus strain 312 I3 A1 B1 plus strain 321 I vector I3 A2 B1. So, this particular, if you go back to the equation number 14, where the situation and if you substitute the values of the permutation symbol according to the definition of the chronicle delta. So, this can be written as simply, because the other term would be 0. So, D is equal to I1 and A2 B3 minus A3 B2 plus I2 A3 B1 minus A1 B3 plus I3 A1 B2 minus A2 B1. So, one can note here on the right side the cross product of the vector A and B, and therefore, the cross product. So, if we take the cross product A cross B, so that would be epsilon. This is also called as epsilon ijk, and vector I aj bk. So, that is a simplified one. So, one can note down the meaning of these indices. Let us take another problem, and let us find out the determinant of a matrix A, which is given by this. So, which is given as determinant A is given as 1 by 6, and the chronicle delta, which is L N M and the epsilon x y z, and then A L x, A M y and A N z. So, suppose this is a matrix, it represents a matrix. So, in that case can we represent it. So, the constants on the component of A, if you look into the matrix A, where we have that is non-diagonal components, if you look. So, it will satisfy the notation like Aij is equal to Aj I, it will, because they are non-diagonal terms. Secondly, the sum of the diagonal component would be 0, because and therefore, the components are the capital A k would be 0, and using the above constant let us show the expression for the determinant of the equation number 25. It will reduce to determinant A would be equal to 1 by 3 A Jm A Mn and A Nl. So, it will be simply here. So, which was previously shown here in equation number 16, the determinant one can be expressed in the term of delta. So, one can express, so determinant A would be equal to 1 by 6, and chronicle I x L x, and then in bracket it is delta my delta nx n z minus delta m ny, and plus similarly the delta ly in bracket delta mz delta nx minus delta nx delta nz plus delta and so on. So, one can see here that these these expressions can be modified using the identity of the previous equation number 15, which was there will have only 6 terms. So determinant A can be represented as 6 term like 1 by 6 in bracket, that would be a L1 a mn a nn minus a L1 a mn a nm plus a ln a nm minus, and likewise here. So if you further modify the second, fourth and sixth term, which arises because of the symmetry of the equation, previous equation 26. So one can further write it is as the determinant A 1 by 6 A and this particular equation which is here. So in the slide it is equation 31, and then we can use constant on the diagonal term which was in the equation number 27 there to simplify the above equations. One should note the index, particularly k in the equation 27, which is a dummy index, and thus it can be replaced by any two index, and therefore the first, second, fourth and sixth term becomes 0. Automatically it becomes 0 according to the chronicle delta definition, which is, and therefore the equation number 31, this particular equation, it will be simply written as determinant A is equal to 1 by 6 and A ln plus A ml A nm plus A lm A mn and A nl, and then further we can modify the first term using the symmetry component of A, and therefore it comes out 1 by 6 A nl A lm A mn plus A lm A mn A nl. So finally when you substitute all the other order first term other term, we can we find both the terms which is identical, and one can combine in two terms, and therefore we get the expression in this form. So determinant A is equal to 1 by 6, this two sets of A, this and that. Now it will become simply 1 by 3 A lm A mn A nl. So now you see it is so small, one can see the long expressions can be represented using the tensorial. Let us take another example where the equation an expression and let us express derivative of Aij with respect to APQ. So if take the derivative in the index notation, so likewise one can follow it here, and one can see that the derivative of Aij with respect to APQ is 1 only. If both the indices P and Q are exactly equal to I and J, if any one index is different, then the derivative is 0. And for an example, suppose I is equal to 2 and J is equal to 3, which is different, then if both P is 2 and Q is 3, then the derivative of A23 with respect to A23 would be 1. And however, the derivative of A23 with respect to APQ for P is equal to 1, 3 are with respect to that is A2Q, for when Q becomes 1 or 2 it is 0. Thus one can get a very simple derivative, that is the derivative Aij with respect to and it will be equal to simply chronicle delta IP chronicle delta JQ. So that's the simple derivative. So one can see the partial derivative of a component with respect to xj is indicated by comma, which is followed by j. For an example, if we represent uij, u comma j, ui comma j means it is derivative deva ui deva with respect to deva xj. So this is the simplified notation, which in turn represents the 9 expression again, because both and I and j varies from 1 to 3. So now this equation, for equation number 35, it represents how many terms? Say it is a 9 component, because so let us take an example based on this. Let us expand the following expression, which is sigma ij comma j is equal to 0. This is an expression. So if you expand it, one has to see that on the right side it is 0. So it is a vector. So it is a vector equation, as there is one free index I only, and dummy index z represents a sum over the 3 terms. Further, the comma represents j index. So sigma ij comma j, so indicates a differentiation with respect to xj. So if you expand the sum over j, the above equation can be written in the form of deva sigma I1 with respect to deva x1 plus deva I2 with respect to deva x2 plus deva I3 with respect to deva x3, and it is equal to 0. Because I is a free index and it can take a value of 1, 2 and 3. So this equation can further be represented with 3 scalar quantities. Say if when I changes 1, 2, 3, so that means this particular equation number 37, if it is expanded full, it will form a 3 separate equation having 3 terms each in one equation. So now one can see here deva 1 1, deva 1 2, deva 1 3, and with respect to deva x1, x2 and x3 respectively sum over, and that is equal to 0. Similarly with respect to sigma 2 1, sigma 2 2 2 3 and sigma 3 3. So this forms a matrix. So this can be represented in a matrix, and this is what this basics of tensor is used in metal forming when the expressions are large enough, long enough. So we can represent in very brief without changing the meaning of the expression. So this particular tensorial representation would be helpful. When the next lecture, it is on the state of stresses, and then later is state of strain, and then the flow, yield and flow lectures. Everywhere it is to be followed, and later also when the other part of the stresses strain relationship comes. So this particular definition of the strain representation and how tensor representation and how it is going to be used to represent the equations in a very short form is very useful for the subsequent lectures. One has to practice in the here we